Hello everybody, welcome to Cape Rugby TV Wednesday night, and we bring you the very best of what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Well, the main season is now pretty much done. Well, it is done. Of course, you would have seen the awards last week. It was great fun. But now we move our attention to Sevens Rugby. It is the SCORE Western Province Club Rugby Sevens happening at CPUT. It kicked off this past Saturday, so lots of Sevens Rugby on the show tonight. Big thanks, of course, to our sponsors on board with Cape Rugby TV. Hisense, our official technical partner. SCORE Energy Drinks. Of course, you'll have an opportunity to win yourself a case of SCORE a little bit later during the show. SCORE is, of course, the official sponsor to the Western Province Club Rugby Sevens. M-Chem Pharmacy on the corner of N1 and Durban Road. Dulux Maitland at number 30 Coburg Road. They'll do all your paint supplies. And, of course, Springbok Atlas, your bus transport solution company. Well, the best buses at the best prices. All you need to do is book your bus with Springbok Atlas. But let me introduce you to my panel this evening. And before I introduce you to my surprise guest, Jerome Parvat, nice to have you back, man.
Yeah, JP, good evening. Good to be back again. And as you say, in Western Province, rugby never stop. Going to the next thing now with the Sevens. And also, JP, I've got invited to a couple of clubs presentation now,
well,
end of season function.
TV celebrity.
So it doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't stop. It certainly doesn't stop after 80 minutes. We know that much. Paul Delport, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't seen Paul Delport on the show for ages. Paulie, nice to have you back.
Jeff, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be back. Good to see you.
Long overdue, and look how proudly you're wearing that Springbok Women's Sevens. You're of course coaching the Women's Sevens at the moment, eh?
Yeah, new job. Some new challenges, definitely learning a lot, and I think we're putting lots of good work in. I think Stanley Robenham as well with the 15s, they're on camp now. They leave for the end of year tour next week, playing 4 internationals, so I think it's great. We're just trying to create opportunities for the ladies.
That's fantastic. It's a big step up. Well, I don't know if it's a step up from the time that you were coaching the Cape Rugby TV Sevens. But we're super proud. I mean, we've watched your progress. I mean, you and I have known each other for many years. I think you're the only person to have captained the South African under-19, the South African 7 side, the South African under-21 side. The only one that you didn't cap was the Springbok side. Yeah. Otherwise, you've captained pretty much every single team that we've had in South Africa. So we're stoked with the Paul Delport to have Paulie back on the park. As we are with Egan Seconds, also a friend of the family, yeah. But we haven't seen Egan for a while. I'm sure we'll catch up with Egan shortly. Folks, tonight too, it's all about Sevens Rugby. Playing out at CPUT at the moment. 40-odd teams were in 4 different pools, Pool A, B, and C, and D. So just over 40 teams participating with more than 20 players in a team. So we're looking at about just over 900 athletes that are competing. We believe that this is the world's biggest Club Rugby Sevens tournament. And of course, certainly the most unique of its kind, where every single player entering the tournament actually gets their own jersey from SCORE. So we're very chuffed with this tournament. Coming up tonight, let me quickly mention the matches we're going to take a look at. Many of these matches have been picked because of the position that they ended in last year. So we're looking at Belhar and Helderberg, Belleville and Police, Durban and Scottsdene, Kels River Hamiltons, NTK Hands and Hearts, Tygerberg, SK Warmers, St. George's and Collegians, and of course Falsebay and Kraaifontein. And then a number of interviews. Donnie Isaacs from Kels River, Morgan Newman is of course at Hands and Hearts. Sorry, not Hands and Hearts, at Kels River. Paulie, just a quick one before we move on to the first game. You've been helping at SK Warmers.
Yeah, Jeff, it's been fantastic. I think it's always nice to give back. And I've always said, I chatted to Ish Dolly yesterday, and I said, whoever asks, I'm keen. And the guys they've really improved a lot. I think they were very hard on themselves over the weekend. You know, none of them have played sevens, I think, for years. And I think they did quite well coming away. So 2 losses, 2 wins, really good starts. Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to seeing them again tomorrow evening and seeing how they go on Saturday.
Well, we'll take a look at where they ended in our log shortly. Folks, let's first take a look at the match between Belhar and Helderberg. Belhar, of course, last year took a 3rd place spot, and Helderberg were the bowl winners. So this was a pretty good matchup in terms of last year's results, and this gives us a start for the season. Let's take a look now. Belhar, Helderberg. Hi, welcome back, folks. Okay, we're getting straight into it then. It's Belhar, Helderberg, of course, Sevens Rugby, entertaining rugby. That's what Sevens Rugby is about. Before we talk about the rugby itself, Jerome, it really is great to have just a simple social sevens. It like that. Gears just keeps going.
Yeah, you can see like the people, they love it and they support the sevens. And the players, it's almost like to unwind. If you look at Belhar, it's like their season wasn't good, but there's something else to play for, and they're just having fun.
Paulie, it makes quite a difference. I mean, there's a significant difference. I know we've asked you this before, but there's such a difference between coming out the league, 15 man. This gives an opportunity for other players to have a game, or maybe some of the guys who played in the season, but the game structure is different.
Definitely, Jabs. I think it's completely different. They're two different codes, and then I think as well for this time of the year, also I think maybe a good opportunity for the guys just to work on their conditioning, so they don't have to go into the conditioning phase before the next season and really put too much pressure on the guys. And again, you know me, I've always been a massive believer in sevens because it improves your general skill set. If you want to be a better rugby player, play sevens.
Yeah. Well, I think, but Jerome, going back to you, Belhar here, I mean, Belhar had a bit of a rough season, but they were third place last year in the Cup. So Belhar and the Sevens are a real contender and need to be watched.
Yeah, JP, the guys in Belhar, they sort of grew up with sort of a sevens background, and I know Bronson Ware is a big name in sevens, and also now moving to Nigeria, but big in Belhar and helping these youngsters. I've seen, I mean, Dennis Cox has been at the school Excelsior. And playing sevens there at that school, they were always good at school. So a lot of these guys come from that school, and a lot of guys got the sevens background. Also good to see all the old guys back at Belhar. See Joel Boyson playing there.
Do you think it's a mistake to suck players out of your first 15 that played in the league?
No, JP. I mean, it depends on what you want out of this. As Paul was saying, if you can combine this with like I would say almost every week, try to give different guys a go, because some of this clubs stopped 4 weeks ago playing. Yeah. So this can be like he was saying, to introduce them back into the conditioning phase of the game.
So just keep the ball going, keep the ball floating.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, folks, let's take a look now at the match between Bellville and Police, and of course Bellville themselves, a former SCORE Western Province Club Rugby champion. There we go, folks. Of course, Belleville walking away with a 38 points to 12 win over Police. Belleville, very experienced. So as I mentioned earlier on, they were the 2016 champions. Jerome, the Belleville guys, those are your boys. We know how dangerous Belleville can be. They are potentially a team that one has to watch out here.
Yeah, JP, they play 15s like they play 7s, so it's not a good, it's not a, how do I say, they used to. Yeah, they used to play like that, and it's good, JP. We always encourage guys to pass the rugby ball, and Belleville has been doing it this whole year, and so it's easy for them going into the 7s. And I see there's a couple of new faces again, because they've been playing up until 2 weeks ago. They have been playing, so they've got a lot of their second team guys playing now. So maybe later on, after the guys is rest a bit, they will bring their sort of big guns back. But yeah, it's young guys we can pass a rugby ball, and it's simple.
Paulie, if I look at some of the teams of Police, for example, on new, just recently, only 3 years I think back now at Western Province Rugby 15s. Now I think I got a feeling it might be Police's first season here. I'm not 100% sure, but for the teams like that are maybe just getting into it, if it is, because there are some clubs here who's it's their first time. What do you say to a club that's playing 7s for the first time?
Geez, chaps, it's interesting, but again, I would just say, just play, just exposure to the game. The guys are all good enough players. They will learn on the job, and I think 7s is a very simple game that people like to complicate. You know, as long as you have a plan, you know how you want to attack. You know, some people want to offload, some people want to set up breakdowns, some people want to use the width, some people want to play through the middle. So as long as you decide and you get the guys to buy, and the same as on defense, you either defend square or you get off the line. So it's easy, and it's just, I think you make a good point there, just making it simple enough for the players to obviously learn and to compete, but also to enjoy themselves. You don't want to put too much on their plate, and then they're worried about making mistakes and worried about not implementing. So just watching those games, it looks like the guys are expressing themselves, and you can just see the skill set is incredible. I loved watching the games.
I think the secret of this game is offload and have a support runner.
That's it.
Offload, have a support runner.
You've solved the Rubik's Cube, James. Got it.
Folks, Score Energy Drinks, of course, the official sponsor to the Western Province Club Rugby 7s. Now, if you want to win yourself a case of Score Energy Drinks, ice cold, this is so cold and nice in this heat at the moment, I tell you something. If you want to win yourself a case of Score Energy Drinks, just SMS the word SCORE 33090, 33090, and you put yourself in the mix to win a case of Score Energy Drinks. Congratulations to last week's winner, Audrey Smith. Audrey walks away with a case of Score Energy Drinks. Folks, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we've still got a couple of games coming up, and we'll be catching up with Western Province Rugby referees Enrico Plaikis and Kasim Ori. And of course, we'll take a look at Durban Scottsdene as our first match after the break. Back in a sec. Welcome back, everybody. Cab Rugby TV, and what a pleasure it is to be looking at 7s rugby. We've got 5 weeks of 7s rugby left with us, of course, happening at CPUT at the moment. In studio with me, Jerome Parvater. Hello, Jerome. And Paul Delport. Also very nice to have Paulie here. Let's catch up with referees on the day, Enrico Plaikis and Kasim Ori.
Soveel lekker om by die 7 servies so net 'n bietjie daar kry vir ons onder na 4 wedstryde. Maar gaan goed aan sover. Goeie rugby sover. Busy Bees is een voorbeeld wat goed deurgekom het. En Windmeel speel ek goed. Nuwe spanne wat ek sover geblaas het. So ja, hulle doen goed.
Ja, ek is nog die weer asperig. As wat die atmosfeer en die dag is nogal lekker en is lekker vol. Nogal, ek moet nogal sê die kwaliteit van rugby en ek sal sê wat nogal baie minder plaasvind as die off the ball play en die dissipline. Die dissipline vandag is fantasties van al die spanne.
Ja, natuurlik, ons sien uit as 'n begin en ons is opgewonde.
Ek kan vir u wat sê wat vandag plaasvind. Dinsdag en Woensdag moet ons met gym toe gaan. Ons maak dit prepare. Dankie.
Welcome back, everybody. Enrico Plaikis and Kasim Ori there. Two of the refs contributing to the day. Probably have a bit of a difference refereeing 15-man rugby and 7s rugby. Do you run more?
Definitely, James. I think in that smaller space, so it's more, or in that smaller time period, it's more intense. But I think for us, I mean, I don't think we say it enough. You know, we often don't give. We don't give enough thanks to the refs and to the paramedics and everyone that's out there. I think sometimes it's a very thankless job, and to see smiles on their faces was actually quite nice, because I know it doesn't happen all the time.
All right, folks, let's move on. I was going to speak to Jerome now, but I think we'll leave Jerome for a little bit later. Scottsdene, we're up against Durbell. Of course, we know that there's a contest for you as well. Both those teams having had some successes in the past.
Ag ek dink vir die eerste raad dink ek is dit goeie rugby gesien. Goeie jong talent wat die klubs nou deesdae deurbring by die toernooie en ek dink is net goed vir die klubs going forward, you know. 'n paar goeie games wat hier gesien het en ek dink iets van die kleinerige klubpies die wat sommer vroeg in die toernooi hand opsteek. Ek weet of die groter klubs hulle self spaar vir die volgende 3 weke wat kom nie, maar baie lekker vibe, is baie warm. En ek dink die bome wat hier rondom die veld is help 'n bietjie om 'n bietjie te sit in die son. Ja, obviously ek dink as jy vat van Scottsdene af as 'n jongerige span en ek dink die ouens geniet elke oomblik as hulle uit is op die veld en ek kan dit gaan van krag tot krag verstaan en die ouens wat uitkom in die game geniet. Any worry wat die outcome is aan die einde van die dag is dink ek is rugby die wenner as ons holisties daarna kyk.
Welcome back, folks. Well, we nearly gave you the wrong score. Luckily, Jerome Parvard is on the ball today. Jerome, Durbell, a little bit of a close margin there, winning 12 points to 10. But Durbell will be happy to get a fresh start and get the ball rolling.
Yeah, total different Durbell team. None of that guys played first team for Durbell. Yeah. So it looks like there's 7 guys, and also maybe later on bring in some of the other guys. That's, as we said earlier on, I think that's the way forward for the guys who are playing. Give them a bit of a rest, and as long as the young guys do the business for them, and then
Both these teams, of course, playing in Pool C. Let's take a look at the logs in Pool C. Let's just get an idea for our clubs that are playing at the moment. Right, so there you see in Pool C now, leading already. It's Hamlets sitting at the top of the log, followed by Carlamore and Belleville, and then Scottsdene is in 4th place. St George's Police, Durbell, Collegians, Western Zebras, Manenberg Rangers, and then Lamott. So, of course, the top 3 positions there sitting on 15 points, and it'll be points difference that is, of course, making that difference. Kales River were, of course, a previous host of the Western Province Club Rugby Sevens, and Hamilton's Of course, we know how dangerous they can be. We're now going to check out the highlights in the match between Hammies and Kuilsriver. All right, there we go, folks. Ended up being a draw there between Kuilsriver and Hamilton's. Let's quickly take a look at the log in Pool B. Both these sides from Pool B before we catch up with Morgan Newman, the coach. Brackenfell sitting at the top in Pool B. They've won 4 from 4. Villages have won 4 from 4 on 18 points. And Hamilton's standing at number 3 on the log. The 4 played 2 down. And then Kuilsriver with a 4-1 win. So Kuilsriver not walking out with the best of the day there. But Hamilton's also 50-50 at the moment. Let's catch up now with Morgan Newman. He's coaching the Sevens at Hamilton's.
No, look, it's amazing to be down here. It's amazing to be part of this awesome competition. The Score Sevens this year has really gone bigger and better. And yeah, I think not all the result went our way this weekend so far. We won one against. Can't remember our team we played against, but we drew to Kuilsriver. So nonetheless, it's I suppose it's still a good start for us. Yeah, just looking forward to our last game against Forest Street, and hopefully we can pick up a result here, and look forward to the following weekend. But in all together, great event, some great running rugby, and I think the teams are really bringing out and showing their talent. So great to see, and I think Western Province Club is really alive and well, and it's great to see.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Paul Delport, Morgan Newman, you guys go way back. I mean, they're like twins, brothers in arms, all that kind of stuff. What will he be bringing to the party at Hamilton's now?
Oh, so much. Where does one start? I mean, he's got such a rugby brain, and I think also Morgie, he's so emotionally intelligent. I think he knows how to get the guys up for the game. Yeah. He's been such a big part of Hamilton's as a club for so long, and I know how much he means to the club. And it's just special, I think, for all of us sitting here, Jabs. All of us just want to give back. I think we were all afforded really incredible opportunities, and just to give back in some ways great, and it's good to see Morgie doing it.
Yeah, and he will know, Jerome, he will know not to overthink the game, have some fun. He's done it so many years, he spent so much time in the game, that he will know not to put pressure on the guys.
Yeah, just a coaching tip to Morgan, it's always good to know who you play against and who's your next game.
Yeah, Morgan Newman. Well, hopefully we get Morgan Newman back on the show as soon as possible. We haven't seen him for a while. Springbok Atlas, of course, on board with Cape Rugby TV. Remember, you can book your shuttles, maybe, or your buses to the Sevens if you're a Sevens rugby team. And to do that, all you need to do is get a hold of Springbok Atlas. Call Rashad Luki on 021 506 2572 506 2572. It's as easy as that. 082 318 4627 is Rashad Luki's cell phone number, the landline number 5062572. Safe, reliable transportation, negotiable rates, and operate all over South Africa. Different size vehicles. So don't think that you have to transport 60 players. They've got smaller shuttles that all fit your Sevens transport requirements. We'll take an ad break, and when we come back from the break, we'll take a look at what happened in the match between NTK and Hands and Hearts. Welcome back, everybody. Cape Rugby TV. It's all happening out of the Western Province Rugby. Score sevens at the moment. Two of the teams that are back in the mix, of course, Tygerberg and SK Woomers. Tygerberg did not make it past the group stages last year, but they're back in the score sevens. And then SK Woomers, first year at the Western Province Rugby 7. So we're going to be speaking to Paul Delport about that, because Paulie has got his hands stuck there in with SK Woomers. We're going to ask for Paulie about that in a second. Let's take a look at the match period. SK Woomers and Tygerberg. All right then, Paul Delport, you were out there visiting SK Woomers and gave them a bit of a helping hand on the day. Didn't go their way, yeah. We're not going to put that on you. But tell us a little bit about SK. It's their first season in at the sevens. The guys must have enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely, Jeff. I think they've got the guys that are involved there are really busy putting really good structures in place, and they're such a talented group of guys. And I said again to them, this is, I mean, I chatted to some of them. Asked them when last you played sevens. They said, oh, we played 2 years ago.
Oh, right.
And the guys are very hard on themselves. But all we said is let's learn lessons. So I said to them, I'm looking forward to this weekend, but we're going to be on it the following weekend. So 3 tournaments in, we'll know what the plan is. We know what we need to do. But just really enjoying working with the boys.
Jerome, a couple of guys at SK Woomers got quite a lot of experience though, and we've had some of them involved with Cape Rugby TV before. One of them, Kakalaki, Zaire Ryland, who I still remember as probably the best stepper in sevens rugby in terms of stepping. He will be putting SK in a mix that they've got a couple of smart ideas.
Yeah, he will definitely. I mean, he was a good player. And he also JP also has a good rugby brain. So I think with the sevens, hopefully he can teach that a few boys to just stay away from the contact and step a little bit more.
How important is that, boy? You do not take contact in sevens. Is that one of the game plans coaches have?
Yeah, definitely, Jeff. I think sometimes you have to take contact. You know, it depends who you're playing against as well. But I think just the guys' general awareness. I think when you're playing 15s, your first option is to take contact, whereas sevens you have more options. So just getting the guys to understand that and to not, like you're saying, to not look for contact. I think that's quite strange for me coming.
So you've got to try and run into space. You've got to try and find gaps and step and look for space and then offload.
Absolutely, that's it. That's it.
All right, we're solving the sevens rugby Rubik's Cube here, folks. Right, St George's were of course last year's champions, and we know just how dangerous St George's can be. They were up against Collegians, who were the Shield quarterfinalists last year. Let's take a look at the highlights here. Alright then, last year's champions St George's up against the quarterfinalist Collegians, and what a win for St George's, 43-5. Jerome, hey, St George's can be a dangerous team in India. That's why they were last year's champions. I've seen them beat some of the big guns.
Yeah, if you play against St George's, JP, it looks like you play against 15 guys. There's always, like we were saying, into space, offload. If there's a line break, there's 4 guys supporting. And it's just natural to them. I mean, also they're quite good at the beat stats, and it's never stopped for them.
What is it, Paulie? What makes them so good? What makes St George's such a star outfit?
Oh, that's it. I think firstly they look very very well conditioned just watching them play.
Right.
And I think also just their general understanding of space and how to play the game. You can see they put a lot of emphasis on the sevens. Coming in as defending champions, and you can see that theme coming through again in the way they've been playing in this tournament.
Yeah. Well, St George's are of course in Pool C. We're going to find the logs for you in Pool C in a second, but we'll then understand that Hamlet's, as we mentioned earlier on, Hamlet's, Kylemore, Belleville, Scottsdene. So St George's sitting at number 5 there. They played 4 on Saturday. They won 2, and of course we know that they are one of the danger teams that we have to look out for in the score, which involves Club Rugby Sevens. That's happening at the moment at CPUT. Let's check out the match now between False Bay and Kraaifontein.
Delicious. Delicious.
All right then, False Bay up against Kraaifontein. Looked a little bit like Super League A against Super League B there. False Bay walking away with a 49-5 win. Paulie, you took one look at that and you said False Bay is good.
Yeah, they really look good over the weekend, and I think just as a club, I mean, obviously been following club rugby, they've just gone from strength to strength. They're really doing well, and they've got good systems in place and some really good players there.
Jerome, but knowing Jono van der Walt at False Bay, he's probably said to somebody, take these guys for 2019 and go and make them play sevens rugby because I want extra hands on deck next year.
Yeah, I think it's a bit devastating for them not playing in the Gold Cup next year.
Yeah.
So exactly what you say, they would say like, listen, let's because you can see it's like a lot of the guys who play first team. Let's go and win something. There's always an opportunity. So let's go maybe win this cup and end up on a high.
But it's a great way to build depth, Bonnie.
Definitely, Jeff. Definitely, great way to build depth. Great way to just create opportunities for guys. And like you said as well, just upskill them in general.
Yeah.
Better conditioning, better skill set, and
You
then
need
hit the
game
ground
time.
running.
You need time on the field if you want players to play. You need match practice. All right, folks, MChem 24-hour pharmacy, of course, on board with Cape Rugby TV. They're on the corner of N1 and Durban Road. Very easy to find there. Cape Town's only 24-hour pharmacy. Joel Lee, Mr. Malach, they of course are the head honchos there at MChem. You see the logos behind. Just look for that sign. This big sign that you see behind me, they've got a massive sign at night time. It's all lit up. A beautiful new pharmacy that's been redone as well. They've been there for a long time. There's free parking there. I could go into the list of what you can find at MChem, but it's a long list, and of course at the best prices, from supplements to orthopedics to coffee shop upstairs and a nail salon and pedicure. Well, they do it all. MChem 24-hour pharmacy. We'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll carry on with taking a look at the score, Western Province Club Rugby Sevens. Welcome back, everybody. It's of course the score, Western Province Club Rugby Sevens, happening at the CPUT Technicon at the moment. The games start pretty early. They start pretty early, around about 9 o'clock, finish around 2. Different time games though. Let's quickly take a look at the logs, and we have an understanding of the teams and the logs in Super League A. At least not Super League A, Pool A. Let's start with Pool A. Let's take a look at the teams and where they stand at the moment. False Bay sitting at the top. Tygerberg, Young Peoples, Kraaifontein, SK Warmers, Blake's, Visante Kraal, Noordelijkers, Young Ideas, Carries, Young Standards. All right, let's take a look at Pool B. Brackenfell, Villages, Hamiltons, Busy Bees, All Saints, Goodwood, Kells River, Strand United, Windmill, Eersterivier and Fora. And then of course in Pool C we're going to Hamlets, Carlamore, Belleville, Scottsdene, St. George's Police, Durban, Collegians, Zebras, Manenberg Rangers, Lamotte. And in Pool D, Paul, NTK, Bellar, Elsie's, Albions, Lunga, Atlantis, Hands and Hearts, Helderberg, Peninsula and Titans. Alright, so folks, we have a couple of different fixtures of course here that we need to take a look at, and these are very much drawn from the log leaders at the moment. Let's first take a look at where the top guys are. In other words, in Pool A we've got False Bay. Now coming up this week, False Bay to defend will be playing against Young Standards and Tygerberg, so they've got 2 games there. In Pool B, Brackenfell, of course, are sitting at the top of the pile. They'll be up against Busy Bees and Goodwood. So that we're just taking a look here at the top log leaders. And of course, in Pool C, we know that Hamlets is leading there. And Hamlets will first take on Durban, then they'll go up against Carlamore, and then, of course, against Belleville. And in Pool D, we know that Paul had a good, or sitting at the top in Pool D at the moment, and Paul will be up against Belhar, and then, of course, up against NTK. Jerome and Paul, I'm going to go to you first, Jerome, but one of the things that's just struck me, looking at the logs here, and this is one of the reasons why the Sevens was developed, is that there's 44 odd teams playing here, 900 teams, at least 900 players. But the nice thing here is many of those guys are now in a pool, because when I all of a sudden was reading the pool, I realized it's like reading Super League A log, except they were different teams. So for these guys, and Paul, you'll know this as well, the Super League A guys have never played against the Super League B guys, or the guys in the City League, the Northern League, the Simonsburg League. Paul, they maybe never have played against some of the other teams, maybe even never met those players. For these guys, 900 players, it's a real opportunity to experience something different.
Yeah, it is, JP, and also next year you will see some of the guys of Super League C are playing Super League B or either Super League A, because there are also people out there looking for their clubs. So there's also opportunity for that. That's not always a good thing, but there's lots of opportunities for these guys, and as you say, to measure themselves guys who's going up to the next level, if they play against a Super A team, then they know exactly what it takes to play against these guys. If they're going to go up to Super League B, they know if they play against a Super League A side, or this is tough, this is what we need to work on. So it's good.
Paulie, do you think the guys can get a little bit starstruck maybe, because now you're in a lower league and you're all of a sudden playing against the mighty False Bay?
Yeah, just maybe on the one hand, but I liken it a bit to the FA Cup. I think it's really cool. I think on the other hand, the guys know they're underdogs. They have nothing to lose, and they're gonna go for it. And I think coach alluded to it. There may be some opportunities for them. You know, the top clubs might be scouting, might be having a look out there. And again, like I'm saying, so I think for the guys maybe in the lower leagues, if you're playing against better opposition, you're going to get better. And also for the guys playing, in Super A, playing against them, your standards have been set. So it doesn't matter if you're playing against a team from a lower league, you still have to go and deliver. So I think it's just a fantastic.
Well, I like the fact that you liken it to the FA Cup, because I think the Sevens is very much like motor racing. So folks, better take an ad break.
JP, there's also opportunity. I mean, Paul is here. He's involved with the SA7s, not only with the women's. I mean, they talk with Marius and whoever. Yeah. So there's also opportunity for these guys to get noticed. And I know a couple of guys. There's this one guy from Marty's who play now. Who plays 7? He's on the circuit now.
James Murphy.
James Murphy.
He's done very well.
He played last year.
He played with us last year.
Yeah, he played. He played from this tournament to the SA7s, and that's where guys also get seen.
I think that's absolutely fantastic. Folks, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll wrap it up by taking a look at the Promotion League. Let's not forget about the teams. 3 of the teams will be promoted in going up in 2019. So there's still some information left from the league season. Back in a sec. Welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. Thanks for joining us. Remember, Dulux Maitland is, of course, at the number 30 Kuberg Road. They've got all your paint supplies. They will spec your premises. They'll come out, measure exactly the size of the walls, the amount of square meters, then work out the amount of paint that you need for that space. They've got artisans and all the quality equipment that you need. So Dulux Maitland at number 30 Kuberg Road. Go knock on their door, save yourself a lot of money, and that way, of course, you know that you've got quality products. Folks, as you know, it is, of course, the Score Western Province Club Rugby 7's happening at the moment. We have a little bit of a highlights package for you before we take a look at the Promotion League. You're watching Cape Rugby TV, folks, of course, every Wednesday night here on Cape Town TV. Right, as you know, it was, of course, the Promotion League that was happening over the weekend, and we do have some results here. So it was a win for Blue Stars United, 17-15 over Masiphumelele, and then Morning Star beating Wraithby, 17 points to 3. Let's take a look where the log ended then in the Promotion League. Now, all these teams were playing off to see who would go up and who would go down and get promoted to Super League C. Blue Stars United, Morning Star, Wraithby, they end on top of the pile. Masiphumelele, a lot of people thought Masiphumelele was going to come through the ranks and take it. Van der Stel thought that they were going to make it through the ranks. So some interesting results there. Blue Stars United, Morning Star coming out as the Cinderella story, and of course Wraithby. Blue Stars and Wraithby both competing tight and sort of neighbours. So Jerome, you're going to have 3 teams there. That is a little bit different to some people predicted. A lot of people said Masi Pumlele having come top of the league. Polly, I don't know, I'm involved you in that space, but Masi's been fantastic. Dropped the ball a little bit, yeah. I don't know, gentlemen, any comments on this?
Yeah, I mean it's a good story, JP. And like we always said, like any team can on the day, and this is exactly what happened. Even if you were 6, you still have an opportunity to win the league and to go further. So that's great. And yeah, well done to Blue Stars and especially Morning Star for what they've done and for the community there. It's good.
Does this maybe show that we've got a difference in leagues? I mean, Masi Pumlele and Blue Stars played in different leagues. You know, is it a question of, is it, anyway, we're going to have this discussion in 2019, but rather interesting. Folks, we're going to wrap it up now. Paulie Delport, I know that you got your hands extremely full with the Springbok ladies side. When is your next big tournament?
Jeb, so the Sevens, we head off to the Dubai Sevens. So we leave on the 25th of November. So at the moment, our ladies have joined the 15s group who leave next week Wednesday on their overseas tour. So looking forward to that. Going to have quite a big squad in. We're gonna try and take 3 teams to Dubai, which is always a really good tournament to play in. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. We will be watching you and hoping to maybe connect with you overseas and just see how things are going. But we're super proud of you, and we really love the fact that you're back here, and especially coming back down to club rugby and just helping out. That's fantastic, man.
It's an absolute pleasure, Jabs, and always great being here with you, gents.
No, we love it. We absolutely love it. Jerome, vir jou sien ons natuurlik op die naweek. WP hierdie naweek teen die Bulle. Hopelijk is dit nie weer 100 minute nie. But it's going to be a big game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big game, JP, and yeah, I don't think this week it will be extra time. Hopefully not.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't think that last week also.
Yeah. So hopefully that's why I say hopefully not this week. Just telling you, I'm just gonna tell you a story. I parked my car in the parking garage, and my son was sitting next to me, and there was about 9 minutes left, and I said to him, "I'm just gonna take the car out because I don't want to wait an hour to get out of the parking garage. So I'm going to park somewhere in the road." Because I said it's going to be extra time. And just as I was getting a parking outside, he came run outside. He said, Dad, it's extra time. So I said, yes, that's why I'm trying to get a parking. So I went back in again.
No, wow, what a game that was. And I'll tell you something. I think the people that were happiest at that game would, of course, have been the sponsors. They got extra 20 minutes or half hour extra airtime. Money that you didn't know was in the bank. Right, folks, that's a wrap from us here at Cape Rugby TV. We'll see you on the weekend at the Score Western Province Club Rugby Sevens, of course, happening at CPUD at the moment. It starts pretty early, around about 9 o'clock. It'll wrap up about 2 o'clock, and then you've got time to go to Newlands to watch Western Province thump the Sharks and watch Chris Van Zyl raise the Currie Cup trophy. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. A fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.